So again, can everybody see my drawing and my paper and everything? I hope so. Can y'all see it? Can someone say yes in the chats to make sure that you see this viewpoint? I know you see the handle of my computer. I've tried, my camera holder, I've tried to change that, but that's the way it is. Okay, good, thank you. Some students in my class yesterday decided that they wanted to use color pencils or crayons instead because of the color, and they wanted to show the value with the color, and that is fine. You can do that. The material does not matter as much to me as showing the value. That is what I am grading, showing value. If you can see the one that we did yesterday, let me pull that one out. I pulled out y'all's, but the one that I did yesterday, I hope you can see this. Wait, let's see. Can y'all see that? This is the one that we finished yesterday, and I started to add color. And some students noticed the value of this because I did this one first, and then they noticed that it had some orange in that value. So we started to add our color here, and then we worked with this and finished it up. I want to tell you, I smoothed my background in and added my backgrounds just to kind of finish it out. You don't have to do that unless you just want to, but you will have all these smudge marks around your picture if you don't. And you can see the color contrast really stands out here in your piece. If you are drawing with graphite pencil, which means a regular pencil, and then you switch to charcoal, you might see your lines just a little bit. So I have my paper for masking. I have posted a picture of this in Canvas. You have an assignment, and it has in it this is what we're going to be working on today. You have 3 different videos. You have a video on how to do the value scale, which I have here. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I have the value scale here. Mine is large, but remember yours is much smaller. I have a video of the first half of class, and then I'll have this second half of class that I will post, and you'll be able to see that. So I'm going to start here with this. For those of you that were absent, we laid out our image first. My viewpoint might be slightly different than yours because you are looking at it from above with my camera view, and I'm looking at it this way. So I try to keep them as close as I can, but remember, we're focusing on the value. So whichever viewpoint you're looking at, you want to focus on that value. One of the things I said in your optional supplies was chalk. And you could have that if you had some. If not, remember, the material that you use is your choice. Right? You can't see the rock. It looks upside down. It might look... Oh, my drawing? Yes. My drawing is going to look a little upside down for your viewpoint, but if you've come from here, the value still works the same. And that's what I want for you to focus on, is the value. And you can always go through and flip your paper upside down, because if you're just drawing the shapes of the value, then it's not going to matter which direction it goes. Now, I've drawn everything out. Yes, it is. It is, Jacob. That's fine. So if you have the picture on one screen or half the screen and then Teams on the other, that's completely fine. If you feel confident and you want to work on this on your own, please go right ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to start to work on this and tell you what I do as I go. So I have my value that I've started here, and I think that I showed y'all last class, but I will show you again the difference. I'm going to do it on gray paper between a white chalk pastel and just the regular chalkboard chalk. And I say this because if you find, see how much brighter and whiter this one is than that one? If you find your picture is looking too gray, like it's too dark, then you can use this. Okay, I mean, you can realize that this is going to be, because you're using regular chalk, it's not going to be as bright white as this, and that's okay. So it kind of being glitchy, that probably just started, didn't it? My other two daughters just joined their live classes, so that could be why you're having some glitchy. I assume. I'm not sure. Pixelated. Oh, so pixelated I can help with. I'm going to answer this, but what I am doing is I'm still going to be adding value, and I'm going to be working on this. So for the pixelated, I looked into that, and there is a setting, especially if you're on a school laptop. But if you are in Teams, what happens is you have a setting that says lowest resolution or camera at function for fastest function. Yes, of course you can, Raphael. Thank you. And what that does is it changes the quality of the image that you see on your camera, and it makes it go at a lower resolution, so you won't have as much glitches. So if you can change that if it bothers you. But it could be that's why some students' cameras are glitchy. Some are really pixelated and some aren't. But that's what I found. So you do not have to add this color to this. But I have my values down. And since I have my values down, I have my dark. I looked at my key scale. And I said, okay, so that value on that right there matches this one. That value matches this. This value matches this. My highlight is here. And I've looked and I've matched those up. And then I look at my ratios, 4 to 0, 4 to 0. Remember, that's 4 layers of the black and 0 of the white. And that way I mix that tone, that value perfectly. And I am adding color just because the students requested it last class, and for those of you that are using color pencils or crayons, this will help. Yes, you will be able to see the picture of this in the assignments. You will have, I have posted my examples. I have posted the image of this still life, and I have my grayscale like this posted, and I have this grayscale right here posted. All of that should be there for you. I can't remember what time it's supposed to share with you. It will probably share tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock because that's when I think what my default is. Okay. Normally I don't share the class assignments until after the last live class. Okay. So, I don't know if you can see, but I've started to get in the sphere here and my value here. I hope you can see that. Okay. Of course it's okay to use crayon. Remember, to me, the material doesn't matter as much as the value. Now remember, every shadow has a highlight, and every highlight has a shadow. So I see my my highlight and my shadow is right here. I hope you can see that. I hope I'm not going too fast. Right? And I am going to add just a hint of the orange to my shadow. And let me tell you why. Anytime I use black, like my darkest black, I like to add another color to it because it darkens it and it makes it richer. It doesn't make it look as flat. So when I add, so in this case it's orange. Normally I use purple or blue, But when I add that to the black, it looks so much darker. And let me show you, hopefully you can see this. Here's my orange. And here is my black, just by itself. And here's my black with my orange. And I don't know if you can see that, but it makes it look richer and darker. Of course you're allowed to use color pencils. Yes, definitely. Richer and darker. Can you see with the orange, just plain black? You can see how deeper that looks. If you're using color pencils, crayons, any other type of material other than charcoal, okay, that's fine. Any other material other than charcoal, just remember the way that charcoal blends so easily with my finger, I can take and I can blend this in with my finger, or I can use a Q-tip. If you're lucky enough to have a stump or a tortillon, you know, that works. But once you use a stump or a tortillon for charcoal, it can only be used for charcoal and chalk pastels. It can't be used for anything else because it will smear it. But the difference is color pencils, you know, you can't smooth out with your hand. And that's fine. So if your final picture with crayons or color pencils looks like this, where you have like these sections, do you see how I'm drawing? It's got like that hard line, that hard edge between them. If it looks like this because you're using color pencils or crayons, that is okay. Right? That is completely okay because I'm looking on the value. And yes, of course you can do it tomorrow. Can you not see anything on the picture here? I can share my screen like I've done before in the past, but as soon as I do that, it slows everything down. So y'all just let me know. I'm very happy to share my screen because that's been clearer. It just makes it go really slow. So I'll wait to see what y'all say in the chat about that. Now for this, I'm doing the stone now. Okay, that's fine. All right, that's fine. So here, I have the stone here. I'm gonna do mine in blue, but you can still keep it in grayscale if you'd like. So I'll start with, I've already marked my values that I see. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna add my cast shadow. Oh, I meant to do this in color pencils so y'all could see what the color pencils look like. Oh well. And I'm gonna come in here and do this dark value that I see there, because I'm looking at my values and I'm like, okay, that matches this. This one right here on the edge is this one. Now, if I'm sticking with the black, I know that this one is 3 layers of black and 1 layer of white. If you switch colors, your white stays the same, but instead of using black, it would be blue. So with color, that means you have 3 layers of blue and 1 layer of white. Does that make sense? That's why it's so important to know these ratios. So if I'm using blue, here it would be 0 white, 4 blue, 1 blue, 3 white. See how that works? 2 blue, 2 white, 3 blue, 1 white, 4 blue, 0 white. And that way, when you have this value scale, no matter what color you use, as long as you keep to those ratios, you've got it. Does what I just say make sense to y'all? Can someone say yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Everybody got it or everybody struggled? I can't tell. It's kind of quiet. Yes, there we go. Okay, good. Now I just blow my chalk dust or charcoal dust away. But I have a work surface that's specifically for that. Remember, I showed you last class, if you're doing this and you don't want to get it all on your work surface, you take it like this with the ends and you tap it into a trash can like that, and it gets all that dust down. Now I've done my stone, I've done my sphere, and now I'm going to do my hand. If everybody's okay for me to keep going, do I need to stop here, or are we good for me to keep going? Okay. So on the hand here, I look at this and I don't think about the fact that I'm making a hand. I am looking at the values. If you focus on the fact that you are drawing a hand, you might frustrate yourself. And you might focus so much on making sure you have a thumb drawn instead of focusing on the value that you see. So when I look at this, I think I'm not drawing a hand. I'm drawing the value that I see. Okay. So I'm going to, just so you can see this better, I'm going to erase that guideline that I used. And now I'm going to start to add in my value. I see this dark cast shadow here underneath. So I can add in this dark cast shadow. This is where some people start to see the difference in our drawings as far as the angle that we're looking at them. So I add in my cast shadow here. Now, color pencils, crayons, those materials, you will have a nice crisp edge. Charcoal does not give that to you. Charcoal is going to give you like a fuzzy edge. And that's fine. That's the nature of the material. So if you want something that's precise and crisp and clean, don't use charcoal or chalk. Switch to pencil, color pencil. Alcohol-based markers would even work because you can blend with them. Now I'm going to come here and I see that value. Drawing pencil is perfect. Drawing pencil will be nice and crisp too. And I see here, I'm like, okay, so that right there is gray, but it looks like it's this gray right here, which means I'm going to do my 3 layers of black and my 1 layer of white. That way I can identify what that looks like. And I see that from my viewpoint, it comes here. And I'd already drawn that out, so that's helpful. And I'm going to add it comes all the way, I don't know if you could see that guideline that I drew right there. It comes all the way here. And I'm going to add in my 3 layers of black. That's 1, 2, and 3. Notice I'm still keeping my marks going in the direction that the object is. Because I want this to look, you draw what you see, Billy. So if you're at my stage, yes, you draw what you draw. Okay, tell her to go to Microsoft. Can you tell her to go to Microsoft Teams? And then in Microsoft Teams, she should be able to join it from the actual Teams app. If that's not working, she should be able to join it from there, or the one in her calendar. Okay. So then I add my white, and because I'm doing it in that direction, it's already starting to make my hand look more realistic. To answer your question, do you draw what I draw? The answer is, if you're working at my pace, yes. You are seeing it from this viewpoint, and I'm seeing it from this viewpoint. So there's a little slight difference between that. But some people have worked ahead. So if you are able to work with me and draw what I draw, yes, do that. If you have started to work ahead, as long as you're focusing on those values, as long as you feel confident that you're drawing what you see, that's fine. Here is this cast shadow. It looks like I've got like 2 thumbs. And this changed a little bit from last class, from here to here. But instead of modifying and having to redo my whole image, I'm going with the placement of what I drew, as long as I'm getting those values in. So now I'm coming in. Notice this value comes this way, so I'm applying my marks that way. Okay, thank you, Harriet. I don't know why it was not going. She can always join from the calendar. Y'all know that you can, if you accept the invitation, you can join straight from the calendar. And of course, if you just go into Teams under our general post, you'll see the link as well. So I'm still doing my values, and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, that one's dark, and then it fades, and this one's like a light gray here. And this one is my cast shadow. I have this value here. I hope I'm not going too fast. And now I'm looking back in. And you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm going to use my chalk as a guide. I look at my paper, then I look at the object, then I look at my paper, then I look at the object, and I'm looking more at my objects and my values than I am my paper. But I am constantly double checking to make sure that I'm not just filling in gray, because you don't want for that to happen. You don't want to just fill in that gray. You want to actually look and do what you see. Okay. Now, I have this that's started. I'm going to use my Q-tip here and smooth that in. You don't have to smooth it in. I really like my blocks to be like solid and dark when I make them. Here's my outside edge. It's like a implication or a shadow here. Oh, thank you. Then I see here, and this is one of those things that if you overthink it, then it's going to be hard. But if you just look at the ratios and adding those values in the direction that they go, you will get it every time. You just kind of have to relax with it. Okay. And I'm adding in these. The one thing about charcoal, this is something that I am very guilty of, so I want for you to be better than me, got a strong highlight there, is that one of the things about blending or smoothing it like this is that sometimes it blends all of those values together and I lose the details that I added. I am very guilty about trying to smooth it so it looks perfect. And then I am recording, yes. But I'm recording on my phone, so none of y'all are in here or anything. It's only recording my hand. But then when I over blend it, it takes away all of those strong, all of that strong value and contrast that I've added. I will also say that a lot of people find it's easier to draw from the image itself, because when you look at a two-dimensional picture, it's two-dimensional, so it flattens out the values immediately for you. And then if you're looking at the 3D object, some people get intimidated and they're focusing so much on the object itself and not the values that they kind of psych themselves out. So that's why I added that picture into it. And I know some of the things that I'm saying, you're like, well, she said that before, and that's true. I have, no, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Yes, I will be posting the recording in Canvas. If you'll probably get it at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning because that's when my stuff posts. But if you focus on those values, it will just appear. I promise. Even if it looks like, you know, a white area, a gray area, a black area, and you've got these harsh lines between it and not blended with me, that's okay. You'll still get it. Now, I have my sphere and I feel like my sphere is done. I'm not going to do anything else to it because I don't want to overwork it. And sometimes I can overwork it. I'm very guilty of that with charcoal. So like here, like the OCD artist in me doesn't like these little black lines here, and I'm tempted to smooth them out. But I know as soon as I do that, I'll lose that value. So I'm just going to leave it. I am going to add this highlight here in the shadow because every shadow has a highlight and every highlight has a shadow. This part right here, the reason this looks curved is because I filled in the color the direction that it goes. If I colored it straight up and down like this, it would immediately flatten it out. It also looks curved because of this edge right here. That makes it look more three-dimensional too. And I just see I've got the strong highlight there. So I'm going to add that in. I have another strong highlight here. So what I'm doing is I'm coming in and I'm adding in those details. And by adding in those details and those highlight marks, which is normally one of the last things that I do, it starts to make it look even more three-dimensional. So I have a highlight here. I'm going to add that there. I have a highlight here. I'm going to add that there. And again, remember, I'm doing the direction that it goes. I have a dark shadow here. I'm going to make sure that that's there. And look, that simple task right there. Now I have a three-dimensional finger. I wasn't drawing my finger. I was drawing the value, but my finger appeared because I was focused so much on those values. It just happened naturally. And then you can start to add in any details that you want. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop working with this because remember I said sometimes you just have to stop. If I keep working with this, I'm afraid I'm going to overwork it. So I'm going to consider this done. I could stop here or I could add in my background. Now my background is gray, but my background still has value to it. I know it would. And who knows? We'll find out really soon, you know. They're going to do whatever they can to keep us safe and to make sure that we can be as successful as possible. I really appreciate y'all's patience with all of this. And I mean, y'all are, I keep saying it, but y'all are rock stars. So in my background, you don't have to do this, but I am adding in my background and I'm just going to keep it. If you do your background, you have to keep it the same direction. Now, if you want to redo yours, yes, of course you can redo yours. You can look at the recording, you can look at the picture and practice it on your own. But also, I'm looking at the value that you've created. So don't throw the image that you've done away. Keep it just in case you still want to turn it in. It will also be a good comparison for you. So I'm going to come in and I'm adding in my backgrounds. Here. And did NJ get in with the link? Was she ever able to get in? I hope so. No? Okay, I don't know why. All right. She had... Okay. Yeah, I wasn't... Because it bypassed, y'all were able to bypass today, which is really odd. It's so much harder. What makes this harder? Being the material that you're using? Am I going too fast? What makes it harder? Okay, so I'm going to kind of pause a little bit. Oops, I almost went the opposite direction. We don't want that to happen. Keep it in the same direction. And I was using a Q-tip for that, but this value up top, I'm just going to use a tissue, but I'm still going to keep it in that same direction. You can also use your finger. I'm even blending in the same direction. So that I just don't like my whole background to just be a plain white, but you can do your choice. All right, I'm going to show you one more thing. Would anybody like to show me their drawing? I would love to see your drawings. And then remember, I can go like this over a trash can and it blends it away. The last thing, while some people are showing me their drawings, the last thing I wanted to show you is that I am using the charcoal, and even though I'm using the charcoal, I can take, if I wanted to, I just put hand sanitizer on my hands. See how it cleaned them up really quickly? I'll still wash them with soap and water, but it's a real fast cleanup. Yes, of course, you can submit yours. You have till Monday to submit yours. So while this is coming up, oh, that looks good. Yeah, that looks really good. I would take and draw in, if you can, a little highlight mark right here. And I would blend these marks in underneath the hand a little bit. And I'd say you are done. That looks great, Sarah. I'm going to take this pencil. You can combine pencil and charcoal. That's what I wanted to show you. So I have this detail here of this line. I can come in with my pencil, and I don't know if you can see that, and make that edge just a little more precise. See how this edge here is fuzzy? That doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, I can come in with my pencil and look, it cleans up that edge and it makes it a little bit more precise. So you can go ahead and do that if you would like. Be aware the angle of the camera determines if you see the pencil or if you see this kind of shiny mark with the that the pencil made on the paper. That's not going to affect your grade, but don't think that you've done something wrong with your camera if you have that. All right? Are there any questions? Thank you to those of you that showed me your picture. But are there any questions? Okay. You can redo if you want, but honestly, I would like to see what you've done to this point. I would like to see what you have made, because this is practice. Next class period, have an art material of your choice. I will see you next Tuesday. We have 2 classes next week, Tuesday and Thursday. Bring the art material of your choice, because I'm going to take this technique and show you how to draw a reflective object realistic. We're going to draw a glass marble. And then that way you can see how all this comes together. It's a very simple technique, and if you do it, you'll be successful every time. It'll be great. It doesn't matter if you use color pencils, chalk, charcoal, graphite pencil, you pick. So are there any questions? If you don't have questions, have a wonderful weekend. You have all weekend to finish this. If you have any questions, email me. Bye, Raphael. If you have any questions, email me. If not, I'll see you Tuesday. If you do have a question or would like to show me your image without everybody else, then just hang on the line for a little bit.